Park Do-hyun checked his reflection in the restaurant window for the third time. His hair was fine. His shirt was clean. He had brushed his teeth twice. Everything was ready, but his hands would not stop shaking. He had waited 3 months for this moment. Every morning he went to the same coffee shop near his office. Every morning Kim Yuna was there too, ordering the same vanilla latte with extra foam. They smiled at each other. They made small talk about the weather. Sometimes their hands touched when reaching for napkins. Last week, Do-hyun finally asked her to dinner. She said yes before he finished the sentence. Now here he was, sitting at a rooftop restaurant in Seoul, watching the city lights spread out below like a sea of stars. The table had candles. The music was soft. Everything was perfect. Yuna arrived wearing a blue dress that matched her eyes. She smiled when she saw him, and Do-hyun forgot every word he had planned to say. "You look nervous," she said, sitting down across from him. "I am nervous," he admitted. "I have been thinking about this dinner for a week. I made a list of conversation topics." Yuna laughed. It was a warm sound, like sunlight. "A list? Can I see it?" "No, it is too embarrassing. Now I definitely want to see it." They ordered food. They talked about their jobs, his work as a software engineer, her life as a veterinarian. She told him about a cat she saved last week that had swallowed a toy car. He told her about a bug in his code that took 3 days to find and turned out to be a single missing comma. The food came. It was delicious. The wine was good. Yuna reached across the table and touched his hand. "I am glad you finally asked me out," she said. "I was starting to think you never would." Do-hyun felt his face grow warm. "I wanted to ask sooner. I just did not know what to say." "You could have said anything. I would have said yes." He smiled. This was it. This was the moment he had been waiting for. Everything was going exactly as he hoped. Then the sky exploded. A column of white light cut through the night, so bright that Do-hyun had to cover his eyes. The restaurant shook. Glasses fell from tables. People screamed and ran for the stairs. Do-hyun grabbed Yuna's hand. "We need to go." But Yuna was not moving. She was staring at the street below, where the light had landed. "Look," she whispered. A ship sat in the middle of the road. It was not like anything Do-hyun had ever seen, smooth and silver, shaped like a teardrop with no wheels or wings. Cars had crashed into each other, trying to avoid it. Alarms were ringing everywhere. A door opened in the side of the ship. Someone stepped out. At first, Do-hyun thought it was a person in a costume. The figure was tall and thin, with 2 arms and 2 legs, wearing something like a robe. But its skin was wrong. Silver blue, like metal mixed with ice. Its eyes were large and black, with no whites at all. The creature looked around at the chaos it had caused. Then it looked up, directly at their rooftop restaurant. "It is looking at us," Yuna said. "It is looking at the building," Do-hyun said. "There are many people here." The creature started walking. It moved through the crowd like water through rocks, never touching anyone, never slowing down. It reached the building and disappeared inside. "It is coming up here," Yuna said. She did not sound scared. She sounded fascinated. "We should leave." "Where? It is faster than us." She was right. Do-hyun looked around the restaurant. Most people had already run away. The staff was hiding in the kitchen. Only a few guests remained, too shocked or too curious to move. The elevator doors opened. The creature stepped out. Up close, it was even stranger than Do-hyun had thought. Its skin seemed to glow faintly from within. Its fingers were long and delicate, like a pianist's. When it breathed, Do-hyun could see patterns moving under its skin, like circuits lighting up. It walked straight to their table and stopped. "Park Do-hyun," it said. Its voice was smooth and clear, and it spoke perfect Korean. "I have traveled very far to find you." Do-hyun stared at it. "How do you know my name?" I have known your name for a long time. I am Vel, of the Elthari people. I am a diplomat of the Consortium of 7 Stars. Vel placed a hand over its chest and bowed slightly. And I am here to tell you that we belong together. Silence. Yuna looked at Do-Yun. Do-Yun looked at Vel. Vel looked at both of them with those huge black eyes, waiting. Is this a joke? Do-Yun finally said. I do not understand. What is a joke? Someone is filming this, right? This is for television? I do not know what television is. I am here because you are the key to an ancient prophecy. Your bloodline was seeded by my ancestors 3,000 years ago. You carry the genetic markers of the Elthari within you. We are bonded. Do-Hyun stood up so fast his chair fell over. I do not know what you are talking about. I am just a normal person. I write computer code. I pay taxes. I have never even left Korea. That does not matter. The bond exists. It has always existed. I am here to honor it. Honor it how? You will come with me. We will return to the consortium homeworld. There, we will complete the bonding ceremony, and you will take your place among my people. Do-Hyun felt dizzy. This could not be happening. 5 minutes ago, he was holding Yuna's hand. Now an alien was telling him they were destined to be together. No, he said. Vel tilted its head. No. No, I am not going anywhere with you. I do not care about prophecies or bonds or any of this. I have a life here. I have a job. He looked at Yuna, who was watching everything with wide eyes. I have a date. Vel followed his gaze to Yuna. Something changed in its expression. Confusion, maybe, or curiosity. This female, she is important to you? Her name is Yuna, and yes, she is very important to me. Yuna smiled a little at that. Vel looked back and forth between them. I do not understand. The bond is sacred. It cannot be refused. I am refusing it. That is not possible. Watch me. The sound of helicopters filled the air. Through the windows, Do-Hyun could see military vehicles surrounding the building. Soldiers were pouring into the street, weapons raised. Vel looked at the helicopters without fear. Your people are coming. They will have questions. I will answer them. But this conversation is not finished. Park Do-Hyun, we belong together. You will understand soon. The soldiers burst through the door, shouting commands. They surrounded Vel with their weapons pointed. Vel raised its hands slowly and allowed them to take it away. As it passed Do-Hyun, it spoke one last time. I will wait for you. I have waited 3,000 years already. I can wait a little longer. Then it was gone. Yuna stood up and took Do-Hyun's hand. Her fingers were warm, real. Well, she said, this is definitely the most interesting first date I have ever had. Do-Hyun laughed. It came out shaky and strange, but it was still a laugh. I am sorry, he said. I did not plan for any of this. I know. That is what makes it exciting. She squeezed his hand. Come on. I think the government wants to talk to us. She led him toward the soldiers, and Do-Hyun followed. He did not know what was happening. He did not know what would come next. But Yuna was still holding his hand, and somehow that made everything feel possible. The government building had no windows. Do-Hyun had been sitting in the same gray room for 6 hours, drinking bad coffee and answering the same questions over and over. No, he did not know the alien. No, he had never been contacted before. No, he had no idea why it came for him. Yuna was in a different room somewhere. They had separated them immediately, which made Do-Hyun angry. She had done nothing wrong. She was just on a date with the wrong person. The door opened and a woman walked in. She was older, maybe 50, with short gray hair and a face that looked like it had never smiled. She wore a black suit with no name tag. My name is Director Bayek, she said, sitting across from him. I am in charge of this facility. What facility? No one will tell me where I am. That is because this place does not officially exist. She placed a folder on the table. What I am about to tell you is classified at the highest level. If you share it with anyone, you will spend the rest of your life in prison. Do you understand? Do-Hyun nodded slowly. Director Bayek opened the folder. Inside were photographs, old ones, black and white, showing strange objects in the sky. Cave paintings of tall figures with big eyes. Ancient texts with symbols Do-Hyun did not recognize. Humanity has been monitored for thousands of years, she said. We have known about the consortium for decades. They watch us, they study us. Sometimes they take people. She pointed to a photograph of a stone carving. This is from a temple in Peru, over 2,000 years old. Do you see what it shows? Do-Hyun looked. The carving showed a tall figure with long fingers and large eyes, standing next to a human. They were holding hands. The alien said its people seeded my bloodline, Do-Hyun said. What does that mean? It means they put something in your DNA, a genetic marker. They did this to certain humans long ago, mixing their genes with ours. Director Bayek leaned forward. They were trying to create hybrids, humans who could survive in both Earth's atmosphere and the toxic environments of other worlds. For 3,000 years, every attempt failed. The markers never activated. Do-Hyun felt cold. Until me. Until you. We tested your blood while you were waiting. The markers are active. You are the first successful result in recorded history. What does that mean for me? It means you are very valuable. To them. She closed the folder. The alien, Vel, has agreed to speak with us, but it will only speak if you are present. It says you need to hear the truth. Do-Hyun did not want to see Vel again. He wanted to go home, take a shower, and pretend this was all a bad dream. But he knew that was not possible anymore. Fine, he said. Take me to it. They walked through long hallways with locked doors and armed guards. Finally, they reached a large room with a glass wall. Behind the glass was Vel, sitting calmly on a bench. A faint blue field surrounded the alien, humming with energy. Yuna was already there, standing by the glass. She turned when Do-Hyun entered, and relief washed over her face. "Are you okay?" she asked. "I think so. Are you?" "They asked me a lot of questions about you. I told them we only just met." She smiled weakly. "I do not think they believed me." Vel stood up and walked to the glass. "Park Do-Hyun, I am glad you came. I did not have a choice. There is always a choice. That is what makes humans interesting." Vel's black eyes moved to Yuna, then back to Do-Hyun. "You brought her. Good. She should hear this too." Director Bayek stepped forward. "You said you would explain. Explain." Vel nodded. 3,000 years ago, my people visited Earth. We were searching for worlds with life, worlds we could use. Earth was young and green and full of potential, but humans were weak. You could not survive outside your small planet. So we decided to help. "Help," Do-Hyun repeated. "By experimenting on us. By improving you. We planted genetic markers in selected bloodlines. These markers would activate over generations, slowly changing humans into something stronger, faster, able to breathe different atmospheres, survive higher radiation, live longer." Vel paused. "We were creating a new kind of human, one that could walk among the stars." Yuna spoke for the first time. "Why? What did you want from us?" Vel looked at her with what might have been respect. "A good question. The consortium is old, very old. We have seen thousands of species rise and fall. Most of them destroy themselves. Wars, pollution, greed. The consortium does not interfere. We simply wait, then collect what remains." "Collect," Director Bayek said. "You mean take. We use what others throw away. Planets, resources, genetic material. It is efficient." Vel turned back to Do-Hyun. Earth was supposed to follow this pattern, but humans surprised us. You did not destroy yourselves. You kept growing, kept changing, kept surviving. So the consortium waited longer. And now, the markers have finally activated. Dohan's hands were shaking. So what happens now? You take me to your homeworld and study me like a lab animal? No. The bond is not about study. It is about completion. When the markers activate, the human must join with an Elthari to stabilize the genetic code. Without the bonding ceremony, your body will eventually fail. The changes will tear you apart. The room went silent. You are saying he will die, Yuna said quietly. I am saying he needs me, and I need him. That is what a bond means. Do-Yun slammed his hand against the glass. Vel did not flinch. I did not ask for this. I did not agree to any of it. You put something inside me without my permission, and now you say I have to go with you or die. Yes. That is not a choice. That is a threat. It is the truth. I did not make the rules. I am only here to honor them. Director Bayek cut in. What happens if he refuses? What happens to Earth? Vel was quiet for a moment. If the bond is refused, the consortium will consider humanity a failed experiment. Failed experiments are recycled. Recycled, Do-Hyun said. Your planet will be stripped of resources. Your species will be archived in genetic storage. Earth will be used for other purposes. Do-Hyun stepped back from the glass. His mind was spinning. This could not be real. This could not be happening. Yuna moved closer to him. She did not touch him, but he could feel her presence, warm and steady. There has to be another way, she said to Vel. You say you have watched humans for thousands of years. Then you know we do not just accept things. We fight, we question, we find new paths. Vel tilted its head. That is true. It is one of the reasons you are still alive. Most species would have destroyed themselves by now. Then let us find a new path here. Let us talk to the consortium. Let us negotiate. The consortium does not negotiate with lesser species. Then let us change that. Vel stared at her for a long time. Do-Hyun could not read its expression. Those black eyes gave nothing away. You are bold, Vel said finally. Both of you. I did not expect this. What did you expect? Do-Hyun asked. I expected you to come willingly. In all our records, no species has ever refused a bond. They obey, or they are erased. Those are the only two options. Maybe humans need a third option. Vel was silent. The blue field around it flickered slightly. I will think about what you have said, Vel said. But I warn you, the consortium is not kind. They do not value feelings or wishes or individual lives. They value results. If you want to change their minds, you will need to prove that humanity is worth keeping. How do we prove that? Yuna asked. I do not know. No one has ever tried before. Director Bayek looked at Do-Hyun and Yuna, then at Vel. We will discuss this with our government. Until then, you stay here. Vel nodded. I will wait. I am good at waiting. The director led Do-Hyun and Yuna out of the room. In the hallway, Do-Hyun leaned against the wall and closed his eyes. This is insane, he said. Yes, Yuna agreed. An alien is telling me I have to marry it or the whole planet dies. Yes. And you want to go negotiate with a galactic empire that has never negotiated with anyone. Yes. He opened his eyes and looked at her. She was calm, focused, like she was solving a problem at work instead of facing the end of the world. Why are you not scared? He asked. Yuna thought about it. I am scared, but I am also curious. We are the first humans to ever have this chance. Maybe we fail. Maybe everything ends badly. But maybe we change something. Maybe we show them that humans are more than they think. Do-Hyun shook his head. You are crazy. Maybe, she smiled. But I am also the only one with an idea. Do you have a better one? He did not. Then we try, she said. Together. She held out her hand. Do-hyun looked at it for a moment. This woman he barely knew, who had stayed with him through the strangest night of his life. He took her hand. Together, he said. The next 2 days were chaos. Do-hyun and Yuna were moved to a secure location, while governments around the world argued about what to do. Some wanted to fight. Some wanted to hide. Some wanted to give Do-hyun to the aliens and hope for the best. But Do-hyun had his own plan. On the 3rd morning, he asked to see Vel again. Director Bayek did not like it, but she allowed it. She was running out of ideas, too. Vel was still sitting in the same room behind the glass, as calm as if it was waiting for a bus. It stood when Do-hyun and Yuna entered. "You have been thinking," Vel said. "I can see it in your face." "I have a question," Do-hyun said. "You say humanity is valuable because of my genes, but is that really true? If we were just lab animals to you, why bother with prophecies and bonds? Why come yourself instead of sending soldiers?" Vel was quiet for a moment. "That is a good question." "Then answer it." Vel walked closer to the glass. "The consortium watches many worlds. We have seen empires rise and fall. We have seen species conquer galaxies and then vanish overnight. But humans are different. You are small and weak and your lives are short. Yet you keep going. You build. You create. You dream. Even when everything is against you, you do not give up." Vel paused. "My people noticed this long ago. It is why we chose Earth for the experiment. We wanted to see what would happen if we gave humans a chance to become something more. And now you want to take that away," Yuna said. "You want to recycle us like trash. I do not want that. But the consortium has rules. If the experiment fails, the resources must be recovered. That is how it has always been." Do-hyun stepped forward. "Then change it." "What?" "You heard me. Change the rules. You said no species has ever refused a bond before. You said no one has ever tried to negotiate. Well, I am refusing, and I want to negotiate." Vel stared at him. "You do not understand what you are asking. The consortium is not one person. It is 7 species, each with their own interests. They do not care about individual lives. They care about results. Then I will give them results. I will go to the consortium homeworld, not as your bonded subject, but as an ambassador. I will speak for humanity. I will show them what we are worth." Vel's black eyes widened slightly. It was the first real emotion Do-hyun had seen from the alien. "That is not possible. Humans have never been allowed in the consortium capital. You do not have the rank, the status. Then give it to me. You are a diplomat, right? You have the power to bring guests. I have the power, yes, but if you go there and fail, there will be no second chance. They will destroy Earth immediately. And if I do not go, they will destroy it anyway. At least this way we have a chance." Vel looked at Yuna. "And you? You want to go too?" Yuna nodded. "Do-hyun can show them our strength. I will show them our heart." "Your heart?" "Our compassion. Our ability to care for others, even strangers. I have seen enough of the consortium to know you do not understand this. You talk about efficiency and results, but you never talk about kindness or love." Vel tilted its head. "Those are weaknesses." "No, they are powers. And I think the consortium forgot that a long time ago." For a long moment, no one spoke. Do-hyun could hear his own heartbeat in his ears. Everything depended on what Vel said next. Finally, Vel nodded. "Very well. I will take you to the consortium capital. I will present you as representatives of Earth. But I warn you, what you are attempting has never been done. The other species will not respect you. They will try to break you." "Let them try," Do-hyun said. Vel almost smiled. "You are either very brave or very foolish." I cannot decide which. Maybe both. Vel walked to the containment field and pressed its hand against it. The blue energy flickered and died. The glass wall slid open. For the first time, nothing separated them. Vel stepped forward and stood before Do-Yun and Yuna. It was taller than both of them, and up close, Do-Yun could see the patterns under its skin more clearly, flowing, shifting, like thoughts made visible. "We leave tonight," Vel said. "There is no time to waste. The consortium will hear about my ship landing on Earth. If I do not return soon with a report, they will send others. Those others will not be as patient as me." Director Bayek entered the room, her face hard. "This is insane. You cannot just leave. We have not authorized—" "With respect, Director," Do-Hyun said, "you do not have time to authorize anything. The consortium does not care about your chain of command. They only care about results. If you want humanity to survive, you have to let us try." Bayek looked at him, then at Yuna, then at Vel. Her jaw tightened, but she nodded slowly. "If you fail, we all die." "I know." "Then do not fail." She stepped aside. Vel led them through the facility and out into the night. The silver ship was still there, surrounded by soldiers and scientists. They all stepped back as Vel approached. The door opened. Inside, the ship was larger than it looked from outside, smooth walls that glowed with soft light, seats that seemed to mold themselves to the body, controls that Do-Hyun could not begin to understand. Vel gestured for them to sit. "The journey will take 1 day in your time. The consortium capital is far away, but we have ways of traveling that your people have not discovered yet." Do-Hyun sat down. The seat wrapped around him gently, holding him in place. Yuna sat next to him and took his hand. "Are you scared?" she asked quietly. "Terrified." "Me too." She squeezed his fingers. "But I am glad we are doing this." "Why?" She thought about it. "Because it is right. Because someone has to stand up. Because I want to know what happens next." Do-Yun smiled despite everything. "You really are crazy. You keep saying that." "Because it is true." The ship rose from the ground without a sound. Through the window, Do-Yun watched Seoul shrink below them. The lights, the buildings, the streets he had walked every day of his life. Then the clouds swallowed everything, and they were climbing higher. Within minutes, they were in space. Do-Hyun had seen pictures before, but nothing prepared him for the real thing. The darkness was absolute. The stars were everywhere, millions of them, more than he could count, shining like diamonds on black cloth. And Earth hung below them, blue and green and white, so small and fragile that Do-Hyun's chest hurt to look at it. "There it is," Yuna whispered. "Everything we are trying to save." Vel looked at the planet, too. "It is beautiful. I understand why you love it." "Do you have a home like that?" Do-Hyun asked. "I did, once. It is gone now." "What happened to it?" Vel was quiet for a long moment. "It was recycled, a long time ago, before I understood what that really meant." Do-Hyun felt something shift inside him. For the first time, he saw Vel not as an alien or an enemy, but as a person. Someone who had lost something. Someone who carried pain. "I am sorry," he said. Vel looked at him with surprise. "Why?" "Because that is what humans say when someone is hurting. It does not fix anything, but it means we see you. We understand." Vel's patterns shifted under its skin. Faster, more complex. It did not speak, but something passed between them. A connection. A beginning. Then the ship lurched, and the stars stretched into lines of light. They were moving faster than Do-Hyun could imagine, leaving everything behind. Toward the consortium. Toward whatever came next. Do-Hyun closed his eyes and held Yuna's hand tighter. He did not know if he could save Earth. He did not know if the consortium would listen. He did not even know if he would survive. But he knew one thing. He was not going to give up. Not ever. That was what it meant to be human. The consortium capital was not a planet. It was a station the size of a moon, hanging in the darkness between 3 stars. From the window of Vel's ship, Do-hyun could see thousands of vessels moving around it like insects around a hive. Ships of every shape and size, coming and going in perfect patterns. "This is the heart of everything," Vel said. 7 species, 12 billion souls, 300,000 years of history, all here. Yuna pressed her hand against the glass. "It is incredible. It is dangerous. Do not forget that." They landed in a docking bay that could have held 100 ships their size. The moment the door opened, Do-hyun understood what Vel meant about danger. Aliens were everywhere. Not just Elthari like Vel, there were dozens of different species, each stranger than the last. Some were tall and thin with skin like metal. Some were short and round with too many eyes. Some floated in the air without wings. Some had no faces at all, and all of them were staring at Do-hyun and Yuna. "They know what you are," Vel said quietly. "Word spreads fast here. A human in the capital. It has never happened before." "What are they thinking?" Yuna asked. "Most of them are thinking you will not survive the day." Do-hyun swallowed hard. "Good to know." Vel led them through corridors that twisted and turned in ways that made Do-hyun's head hurt. The station was built by many different species over thousands of years, and none of them agreed on what made sense. Gravity changed without warning. Hallways became stairs. Doors opened into walls. Finally, they reached a large chamber with a domed ceiling that showed the stars outside. 7 platforms rose from the floor in a circle, each one holding a seat. 6 of the seats were already filled. The consortium. Do-hyun studied each representative. The Elthari seat was empty. Vel's seat, he realized. Next to it sat a massive creature covered in scales, with arms like tree trunks and a face full of teeth. That must be the Corveth, the military species Vel had mentioned. On the other side was something that looked like a plant more than a person. Thin green limbs, leaves instead of hair, a body that swayed even though there was no wind. Beyond that were creatures Do-hyun could not even describe. One seemed to be made of light. One had a body like liquid metal. One was so dark it looked like a hole in space. The last one was almost human, 2 arms, 2 legs, a face with eyes and a mouth. But its skin was covered in patterns that moved and changed, like tattoos that were alive. This last one spoke first. "So, the humans have come." Its voice was cold, mocking. Vel stepped forward. "Representatives of the consortium, I present Park Do-hyun and Kim Yuna of Earth. They come as ambassadors for their species." "Ambassadors?" The scaled Corveth laughed, a harsh barking sound. "They are insects. They should be honored that we even considered them for experimentation." "They are more than that," Vel said. "They have something to say. I ask that you listen." "Why should we?" The almost human representative leaned forward. "The experiment has produced one viable result in 3,000 years. One. That is not success. That is waste." Do-hyun felt his anger rising. He stepped forward before Vel could stop him. "I am the one viable result you are talking about, and I am not waste. I am a person." Silence. The representatives looked at him with expressions ranging from curiosity to disgust. The Corveth bared its teeth. The plant creature swayed faster. "You speak without permission," the almost human said. "That is not allowed." "I did not come here to follow your rules. I came to change them." More silence. Then, surprisingly, the dark one, the one that looked like a hole in space, spoke. Its voice was like wind through empty rooms. "Interesting. Continue." Do-hyun took a breath. "You call us a failed experiment. You say we are weak and short-lived and not worth keeping. But you are wrong. Humans are not weak. We are adaptable. We survive things that would destroy other species. We lose everything and we build again. We fall down and we stand back up. Pretty words, the Corveth growled. But words do not matter here. Only power matters. Then you do not understand power. The Corveth stood up, its massive body blocking the light. You dare? Yes, I dare. You think power means weapons and armies and conquest, but real power is the ability to change, to grow, to become something better than you were. Humans have that power. We have always had it. Yuna stepped up beside him. May I speak? The almost human waved a hand. Why not? You are already breaking every protocol. One more violation changes nothing. Yuna looked around the chamber at each representative. I am a veterinarian. Do you know what that is? I heal animals. Creatures that cannot speak, cannot pay me, cannot do anything for me in return. I heal them because they are alive and they are suffering and I can help. Wasteful, the plant creature whispered. Inefficient. Maybe, but it is also kind. Yuna's voice was steady. I have seen your consortium. I have read your records. You talk about efficiency and results and optimization, but you never talk about kindness. You never talk about love. Love is a chemical reaction, the light being said. Kindness is weakness disguised as virtue. No, they are strengths. They are what keep us together when everything else falls apart. Yuna looked at Vel. When Vel told us about the bond, about the prophecy, we refused. Do you know why? Because we do not let others decide our fate. We choose for ourselves. That is not weakness. That is the strongest thing we have. The representatives murmured among themselves. Do-Yun could not tell if they were impressed or angry or both. The almost human raised a hand for silence. You come here with words and feelings, but the consortium operates on proof. Every species here earned their place by demonstrating their value. The Elthari offer genetic mastery. The Corveth offer military strength. The Silan offer technological innovation. It pointed at Do-Hyun and Yuna. What do you offer? Do-Hyun opened his mouth, but nothing came out. You have nothing, the Corveth said. You are empty. We have 1 day, Yuna said suddenly. Give us 1 day to prepare our answer. 1 cycle. The representatives looked at each other. This is unprecedented, the plant creature said. Lesser species do not get time. They prove themselves or they are removed. We are not asking for mercy, Do-Hyun said. We are asking for a chance. 1 day. If we fail, you can do whatever you want. But if we succeed, if we show you something real, then you have to listen. You have to give humanity a chance. The Dark One spoke again, that empty wind voice. I find this acceptable. 1 cycle. Then we decide. The others argued, but eventually they agreed. 1 cycle. 1 day. Vel led Do-Yun and Yuna out of the chamber. As soon as the doors closed, Do-Yun leaned against the wall. What are we going to do? He asked. We have nothing. No technology, no weapons, no genetic tricks. What can we possibly show them? Yuna was quiet for a moment. Then she looked at Vel. I need to talk to other species. Not the consortium, the regular people, the ones who live here. Can you arrange that? Vel frowned. Why? Because I have an idea. But I need to know if I am right about something first. Vel studied her face. You are planning something. Yes. Will it work? Yuna smiled. I do not know, but I think it might be exactly what they need to hear. That night, while Do-Yun tried to rest, Yuna walked through the station with Vel. She talked to aliens from a dozen different species. She asked them questions, not about technology or politics, but about their lives, their families, their dreams. She asked them if they were happy. The answers were always the same, no. When she came back to their quarters, her eyes were shining. I know what we have to do. Do-Yun sat up. Tell me. She told him. It was crazy. It was impossible. It would either save humanity or destroy them all. He loved it. "Let us do it," he said. And together they began to prepare for the most important moment of their lives. The chamber was full when Do-Yun and Yuna returned. Not just the 7 representatives, hundreds of aliens had come to watch. Word had spread through the station that the humans were going to make their case. No one wanted to miss it. Do-Hyun felt their eyes on him. Thousands of eyes, some with pupils, some without. He tried not to think about what would happen if this failed. He tried not to think about Earth, about his family, about everyone depending on this moment. Beside him, Yuna squeezed his hand. "Ready?" "No." "Good. Me neither," she smiled. "Let us begin." They walked to the center of the chamber. The 7 representatives looked down at them from their platforms. The almost human spoke first. "Your time is up. Show us what humanity offers the consortium." Do-Yun took a deep breath. "We are not going to show you a weapon. We are not going to show you technology. We do not have those things, not the way you do." Murmurs from the crowd. The Corvette snorted. "Instead," Yuna said, "we are going to show you something you forgot, something you lost a long time ago." She stepped forward and looked up at the representatives. "Last night, I walked through your station. I talked to your people, not the leaders, but the regular people, the workers and families and ordinary citizens of your great consortium." "That was not permitted," the plant creature said. "I know, but I needed to understand something." Yuna paused. "I asked them if they were happy. Do you know what they told me?" Silence. "They told me no. Every single one." The Corvette soldiers said they feel empty when they are not fighting. The Ceylon engineers said they cannot remember the last time they made something just for beauty. The Elthari healers said they fix bodies, but never ask about hearts. Yuna's voice was soft but clear. "Your consortium is powerful. It is ancient. It is efficient. But it is also miserable." The representatives shifted in their seats. The almost human's patterns moved faster across its skin. "You dare to judge us?" "No, I am not judging you. I am telling you the truth. You asked what humanity offers. This is our answer." Do-Yun stepped forward. "Humans are not strong like the Corvette. We are not smart like the Ceylon. We cannot change our genes like the Elthari. By your standards, we are nothing. But we have something you do not." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small device, a phone that Vel had helped him connect to the station's systems. He touched the screen, and holographic images appeared in the air around them. "This is my grandmother," Do-Yun said. The image showed an old woman with a wrinkled face and kind eyes. She was standing in a small kitchen, stirring a pot of soup. She survived a war. She lost her husband and 2 of her children. She had nothing. No home, no money, no hope. By your logic, she should have given up. She should have stopped trying. Do-Yun's voice shook slightly. But she did not. She built a new life. She raised a family. And every week she made soup for her neighbors. Not because they paid her, not because they could give her anything, but because they were hungry and she could help. The image changed. Now it showed a street filled with rubble after some disaster, an earthquake maybe, or a building collapse. In the middle of the destruction, strangers were helping each other, carrying children, sharing water, holding hands. "This is what humans do," Yuna said. "We break and we help each other heal. We suffer and we comfort each other. We have so little time. Our lives are short, our bodies are fragile, but we spend that time caring for each other." More images appeared. A child's drawing of their family, messy and colorful. A musician playing a violin on a street corner while people stopped to listen. 2 old men sitting on a bench laughing at some shared joke. A woman holding a newborn baby crying with joy. "These are not weaknesses," Do-Yun said. These are not inefficiencies. These are the things that make life worth living. Love, joy, compassion, connection. You have forgotten them because your lives are so long and your power is so great. You do not need each other anymore, but we do, and that is our strength. The chamber was completely silent. Do-hyun could not tell what the representatives were thinking. He could not tell if they were moved or angry or confused. Then something unexpected happened. A sound came from the crowd, a low humming sound, almost like a song. Do-hyun looked and saw one of the plant creatures in the audience swaying, its leaves rustling in a rhythm that matched the hum. Another voice joined in, then another. Different species, different sounds, but all blending together into something that felt like music. The plant representative on the council stood up suddenly. "I remember this," it said. Its voice was different now, softer, less cold. "We used to sing. Before the consortium, before the rules. We used to make sounds just for beauty." The light being flickered and shifted. "I remember too. We used to create art. Not for efficiency, just for the joy of creation." The Dark One spoke, its empty voice filled with something that might have been sadness. "I remember. We used to tell stories about heroes and lovers and dreams. We stopped because stories do not produce results." Do-hyun felt his heart pounding. Something was changing. Something was breaking open. Vel stepped forward and addressed the council. "The bond I came to claim from Do-hyun, it was never real. There is no prophecy. The markers in his blood are real. But the bond was a test. We wanted to see if humans would submit or resist." The representatives turned to Vel in shock. "You deceived us," the Corvette growled. "I deceived everyone, including myself." Vel looked at Do-hyun and Yuna. "I thought resistance was foolish. I thought humans would be better off accepting their place. But they refused, and in refusing, they reminded me of something I had forgotten." "What?" the almost human asked. "That choice matters, that feelings matter, that the things we cannot measure are often the things that matter most." Vel turned back to the council. "I move that Earth be given provisional status, not as an experiment, not as a resource, as a partner." The chamber erupted in noise, arguments and shouts in dozens of languages. The representatives debated among themselves, their gestures sharp and angry. Do-hyun watched, unable to breathe. This was it. This was the moment. Finally, the almost human raised its hand. The chamber went quiet. "We have reached a decision." It looked at Do-hyun and Yuna with an expression Do-hyun could not read. "Humanity will not be granted full membership in the consortium." Do-hyun's heart sank. "However," the representative paused, "you have shown us something we did not expect, something we had forgotten. Therefore, Earth will be given protected status. You will not be recycled. You will be allowed to develop on your own, and we will send observers, not to study you, but to learn from you." Yuna gasped. Do-hyun felt his knees go weak. "Additionally," the representative continued, "we are establishing a new role within the consortium, a cultural advisory position. Species who focus not on technology or military power, but on art, emotion, and connection. Humanity will be the first to hold this role." The crowd hummed with surprise and curiosity. "You did not give us what we asked for," the representative said. "You gave us what we needed. That is rare. That is valuable." It almost smiled. "That is very human." The trial was over. Do-hyun and Yuna walked out of the chamber in a daze. Aliens reached out to touch them as they passed. Not with hostility, but with something like wonder, like they were seeing something new for the first time. Vel found them in the corridor outside. For a moment, the three of them just stood there. "You did it," Vel said. "You actually did it." "We did not do anything," Yuna said. We just showed them who we are. That is exactly what I mean. Do-yun looked at the alien who had interrupted his date and turned his life upside down. What happens now? With the bond? Vel shook its head. There is no bond, not in the way I described. But perhaps... It paused, its patterns shifting thoughtfully. Perhaps there is a different kind of bond, a chosen one, between peoples who decide to walk together. Yuna smiled. I think we would like that. They returned to Earth the next day. The whole world was watching when they landed. Every screen, every device, every pair of eyes turned toward the silver ship touching down in Seoul. Do-yun stepped out first. He saw his mother in the crowd crying and waving. He saw Director Bayek, her face unreadable, but her eyes bright. He saw a world that had been hours away from destruction, now given a second chance. Yuna stepped out beside him and took his hand. So, she said, how do you feel about a second date? Do-yun laughed. After everything, the aliens, the trial, the fate of the entire human race, she was asking about a date. I think I can manage that, he said. Good, but maybe somewhere quieter this time. No rooftops. No rooftops, he agreed. Above them, the stars were shining, the same stars that humans had looked at for thousands of years, dreaming of what might be out there. Now, they knew, and the universe would never be the same.